We are live
Absolutely.
on the Attitude Era podcast. We have the lovely Samantha Irvin in the building today. It's took a long time to get this interview to happen, but I know it was well worth the wait. So I just want to say it is an honor for you to join the podcast with me and my co-host Z the
Hey,
Dropout
hold on. We
on
gotta
this
we
Wednesday.
gotta do it correctly. We
Okay,
gotta
okay.
do it correctly. Live on the Attitude Era podcast, we have Samantha Irvin. Let's go. Let's
All
go.
right,
Oh
that
my
was the perfect
gosh.
introduction. That was the perfect
We
introduction.
I
had to
don't
do it the
I
correct
think
way.
that's probably my first introduction. I thank you so much.
Oh, you've never been on the other side. That's crazy. You just
I've never been introduced in this way. Thank you.
So
that's what we do here.
my first question to you is, which is amazing how it actually happened, but I like this. I like to use things as like storylines. So I would say that your WWE experience kind of started in some form from a tweet from Mark Henry, correct?
Yes. Yes, it
Okay.
did.
So just run us through that whole timeline of you I know you have some um like experience with wrestling, loving wrestling, watching it. You have a podcast, and then you go on Twitter and you see Mark Henry.
Yeah, it really is a movie. It's kind of like that scene in a movie, like, no way, like I just saw Barry Gordy in the bathroom. Like it was like that. Because I did a podcast kind of similar to this with Dave LaGreca from Busted Open Radio. He was on it, and we were just kind of going through the week in wrestling. And at that point, I was kind of a nostalgic fan, but I was, still watching the premium live events and things like that. So I'm watching all this wrestling and I'm on this podcast and I'm assuming that had something to do with how he came across my Twitter, and he basically just started tweeting me. He said that later when I spoke to him, he said he saw me on a show that I did and that he could just tell that I had like the right attitude for wrestling, and he just started tweeting me. That was it. I was like, I cannot believe Mark Henry is tweeting me asking me if I would be interested in pursuing wrestling. And I was like, yes, absolutely, sir. What can I do?
That's
Yeah.
dope because we've interviewed Mark Henry too, and he's someone who he's really like for the culture of wrestling. Like he's put a lot of people on and just like brought a lot of people in. What was like the trip? Well, let's take it back a little. When you were just coming up as a fan, what were some of your favorite moments as a fan being live or watching at home before even being in the business?
Ooh. I mean, I've been watching wrestling for 34 years. Um, right off the bat, I think about Undertaker coming through the ring and pulling Diesel through.
Yeah.
Mm.
That was probably like I could not stop thinking about that. I was like that was I couldn't stop thinking about it. I just couldn't wait to see more, and I was like, what happened to Diesel? Like, is he okay? And I was fully just into that. Shawn Michaels is my favorite wrestler, so many
Same.
moments.
The
Okay,
GOAT. The
so I
GOAT, Shawn
I
Michaels.
felt with your announcement, I felt you had good taste.
It was
Everything
that
felt
Shawn Michaels energy. You know what I mean?
yes. It really
Shawn Michaels is in my top five. Stone Cold's my favorite wrestler.
okay, and that's a wonderful choice,
Yeah,
obviously. But a lot of my memories, I mean, I have a lot of great memories of Stone Cold. I was at
yeah.
WrestleMania 14.
Wow,
Um,
that's amazing. That's crazy.
yeah, I Shawn Michaels' is back-to-back Royal Rumble wins is what I always talk about because I just thought that was so amazing. And at that time, you're like, I was like 7 years old, so it's just that prime time for just what, you're just a kid and you're freaking out.
So that has that happened yet where the WWE found that footage? Because they always love to do that, like finding you in the crowd at WrestleMania 14. That would
Oh,
be
I
golden.
was in the nosebleeds. They would have to that would there.
There's a
I was
shot
up
somewhere
there.
at those live events. They do like the camera in the crowd and the people they're seeing. I don't even know how they be showing the people that they show at that. They got a shot somewhere. But
Wow.
coming up
Well,
as a fan, who was like, let's do like a top four, top five.
top four, top five, right off the bat, Shawn Michaels, of course. I
Right.
would put Stone Cold
Okay.
very high up on my list. Um, Mick Foley
Mm.
needs a
Interviewed
spot.
him as well.
Amazing, honestly, all his forms. Um, and now as an adult, Bret Hart goes up there. But as a child, it was, I hate Bret Hart. I
You
hate him
because of his style of wrestling, or because you were a Shawn Michaels fan?
because I was a Shawn Michaels fan.
Okay,
But
so
now that
All
I
the real ones
have,
are.
you have to go through the journey as a
yeah,
child watching this. And that's why I love sitting out there and I get to watch the kids because they are at a certain point in their journey of how they're consuming this, what it means. You know what I'm trying to say. They're
yeah,
they're lost in it in a different kind of way.
yeah,
And when I was lost in it, I hated Bret Hart. Then when I was older and I was able to really understand what this is that I actually love, I'm like, wow, I'm like low key a huge Bret Hart fan because every one of my, favorite matches is a Bret Hart match. And that's it. It might have been against my favorite wrestler, but that puts him up there.
yeah. Bret Hart to me is like top two and maybe not two of like, if we're talking about just wrestling, like knowing
Oh,
how to wrestle,
absolutely.
technical wrestlers ever. Back to after you get the tweet from Mark Henry, right? Because I think at that time you were actually pursuing to actually be a wrestler. So how does it go from that to the ring announcer? Like what was the process of that?
Okay, so let me just clear this up. I was never pursuing to be a wrestler. I
Okay,
ever, 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 ever. Excuse me. What happened was
okay,
that Mark Henry presented an opportunity to me, and
gotcha.
I knew that that was like my only way really to get in the door. And I was terrified. And everybody who knew me was like, "What are you doing? You're going to go and do this tryout? Like, I'm not an athlete." I honestly, I was not prepared. And I just was like, whatever. However prepared I am through my life is as prepared as I'm going to be when I walk in there. So I did not want, and I honestly, after it was over, I cried. Like after the first day of the tryout, I cried. Like it was just such a tremendous experience. I was overcome with emotion that I was in the PC, that I saw some of my idols and these legends, and that I was able to, I didn't kill it, but I finished it. And I was just so proud of myself. And I was like, if this is as far as it goes, I I'm proud and I'm happy. And it's one of the best things. And I'm forever changed, you know. But I was like, man, I hope they don't want me to be a wrestler because it was hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's the truth. I didn't really,
okay.
but I had to finish it. I had to do it. I had to show them that I obviously respect what this really is, but I actually respect it so much that I wouldn't even pretend to be a wrestler because, it's not just something easy that you're like, I'm going to be a wrestler now.
Yeah.
Like, no, no, you're not.
So
But
what was the
clearly,
what?
wait, you go ahead, Dina.
Yeah, I was just gonna say. So after you did the trial, just to because that all makes sense. Like I need to get my foot in the door in here somewhere. This is the only opportunity that's being given. Okay, I'm gonna do this. After that happens, when does the ring announcer thing happen? Where they like, okay,
So it was basically, Mark Henry said to me, I can't really get you, any opportunity other than get you into the trial. And then once you're there, you can talk to whoever and let them know what you think you'd want to do if it gets that far. So
okay,
I did the tryout, and obviously I was not excellent at it, but we did cut some promos as well, and we did like a quiz, and we just got to show a little of our personalities, and they did have some matches going on at the PC, so they did ask me to announce a few matches. So I showed them as much of myself as I possibly could over the course of those 2 days, and they messaged me back and they said that they admired, that I finished it and that it wasn't good enough to be a wrestler, but I had the passion and other qualities. And then they put me in touch with Michael Cole. And then that's kind of how that started. And even with that, I was originally doing backstage and digital interviews for NXT and announcing on 205 Live. So I was kind of doing both things at first. And then, one thing led to another, and I ended up on SmackDown.
it's amazing.
Awesome.
That's
Yeah,
a great story. But
it's
when
crazy.
when I after seeing you do the ring announcing, like once I did my research, it matched the other talents that you had? Because I know I seen that you said you was in theater and the dramatic faces and you know what I mean, getting the scripts was good with being a wrestling fan. And I seen you were on America's Got Talent, so you sing. So how was that? Like
I think
America's Got Talent?
American Idol too. Didn't you on? Were you on American Idol?
No, I was on I Can See Your Voice.
Oh,
It's
okay.
like a kind of a sister show to The Masked Singer. I
Okay.
was on that and America's Got Talent season 10. That was back in 2015. But yes, my whole background is in music and stage performance, theater, tribute work, like to tribute artists, Michael Jackson. And I've been on stage, like I've put hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on stage all over the world. And that's my love and passion is to perform. So when I started doing the ring announcing, obviously we know what this is. This is this is a spectacle. And it's a spectacle that I am invested in that I love so much. All I've ever wanted to do is use my voice in a strong way, in a way that matters. So when I got the position and I got that okay from Michael Cole to go for it and be me and just contribute where I in places where I felt that I could. I was doing that and I am so happy and proud. And I had a feeling that I would connect with the fans because I am a fan. I've always been on Twitter,
Yeah.
letting people know what I think. And it feels so good that people are enjoying it. And, it's honestly, it's like I'm the most proud of this, of anything I've done thus far in my career.
That's
No,
awesome.
that's amazing.
I had a question, but first, speaking of Twitter and all that, do you ever watch all the videos people post of like you announcing and getting into it when someone wins and being like, and now the victory? Do you ever watch those and see the reactions?
Sometimes I do, but then sometimes I'm like, I know for sure that announcement I didn't necessarily, I'm very hard on myself. So I'll be like, oh, I know I didn't really nail that one, so I'll avoid it. But I love that people like it and I know that if anybody, any one of us that like are reals, if any one of us was handed that microphone, we would go hard, So it's kind of like that's just what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the same way like wrestlers have like other favorite wrestlers and all that. As a ring announcer, I almost want to do like a top four again. Who's the ring announcers you look at and like that's the inspiration or like
So, okay, I'm very old school, just naturally, even with my music. I like the oldies because that's just what it is. So for me, Howard Finkel is the voice of
yeah.
WWE and
Yeah.
always will be because that's the foundation of everything that we know. I feel like what we're doing from the top to everywhere in between, the WWE universe as a whole, like this is very tradition based, and people are teaching their kids about what it's like when you come to a show and the chants and the songs and the catchphrases. It's all part of, it's just a big tradition. So I kind of forgot the question.
That's all good. That's all good.
You answered it perfectly.
So right now, right, this is one of my favorite moments that just happened because the podcast is Attitude Era. So anytime I see something in the now that brings me that nostalgic feel, I feel like a kid again. So The Rock just returned. The Rock
Yeah.
finally came back to SmackDown.
Yep, he sure did.
And that was amazing. I actually didn't get to see it because I was taking my kids out bowling, but I seen it on Instagram after, and I went
Of course
crazy.
you were out.
Yeah,
You're
I
like,
know.
man,
I
I
was
go out bowling and I miss the Rock coming
the
back.
one
Well,
day
it
I
was
go out
such a
bowling, the Rock
genuine
comes.
surprise
Yeah,
moment.
it was
Like, I
literally a
feel like,
surprise, and that's
yeah,
and that's hard to do now with the internet. Well, I mean,
right.
I guess maybe I wasn't looking in the right places, but I didn't have any speculation of it. But with the potential of what was supposed to go down at WrestleMania 39, right? We don't know if it's gonna happen, but if it does, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. What are your thoughts on that? If it does happen, hypothetically?
If I don't pass out and I'm like able
Yeah,
to watch, I don't know. I can't even answer that because that's just gonna be too electrifying. Oh,
yeah, I know.
I
If
don't know.
the Rock versus Roman Reigns happens, I as a kid, I was not privileged to go to any wrestling events. I just started going as an adult, but I will be front row for that match if
Me
that happens
too.
because it's iconic.
You guys have
Man,
predictions?
what was that?
You guys have any predictions?
I mean, I'm going with The Rock, of
I
course.
know, yeah.
You don't have to ask me that. Like, shout out to Roman Reigns,
Hey,
but
I acknowledge Roman Reigns. I think Roman Reigns can't be beat by anyone at this point. I want to see 3 more years of Roman Reigns.
I know there's a lot that I can't.
of course,
I have a job to do, and I have to put that first and foremost. I will enjoy the bout if that were to happen, which would be absolutely insane.
yeah.
We
I
would all
feel,
be just so blessed to witness it.
yeah.
Absolutely. Let's bring up something else big that happened in WWE news recently. New signing in the women's division, Jade Cargill.
Ooh.
Yeah.
What do you think of
Oh.
that? WWE signing her, and who do you want to see her go up against now that she's here?
I think it's amazing. I think it's huge. I think that it's filling a void that we maybe didn't even know that we had. And I just can't wait to see. I want to see her face every single person, everybody. I want to see what she's going to do and how this is going to affect the way those women are looking at those titles, because I know where she's going to be setting her sights. So
Yeah.
I can't wait. I think it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
And
Yeah,
it's
so-
dope to
Literally.
see the impact that was made just off announcing that she's now with WWE. No matches or anything yet. Literally just announcing she went to the Performance Center, and it's already like the impact has started. So it's kind of
That-
crazy to see that.
that
And
says
it's
it
dope
all.
to see.
That says
Absolutely.
it all. That says it all. She's a star, and that says it all. Highly anticipated. So excited. Obviously, I'm hoping. I don't know where she's gonna end up. Where she'll start her journey, but I will be more than happy to have my girl on Monday Night Raw. I
yeah.
think it would be amazing, but she's gonna do damage probably everywhere.
No,
Yeah, I mean, I know it's your job. You can't say it, but I'm gonna just put my wish out there. I want to see her versus Bianca Belair. I think that's the one.
absolutely.
I would love to see it. Of course, I would love to see it. Two of the most beautiful, talented, athletic women that I've ever seen. Yeah, of course, I would love to see that. I do. At the end of the day, for me, I just want every superstar to know that I represent them all, regardless. So I'm fully invested, but what's meant to be will be. And man,
Yeah,
I love both of those women, so I hope we get that sooner rather than later.
And it's definitely dope for the women's division too. And I feel like you've taken part in a period of wrestling where you've gotten to witness a huge elevation in the women's division, where it came to a point where I believe you announced the first like truly all women's match. The contestants were women, the referee was women, the announcer was women.
Yeah.
What was that like, watching the development and then getting to that huge career moment?
Oh man, I think that when you grow up, I'm 34 years old, so I always believed that I could do these things, but that was just like an inner belief. That was not something that society was telling me was possible or was going to happen. And now just knowing that the fans are the ones that are like demanding this and want to see it, it's like you can't argue with what the people want to see. And we have the most talented women in the world competing, and we're just lucky to see it. I'm blessed to be a part of it. I didn't realize at first when all four of us were standing in the ring, I didn't realize that statistic until after. And everybody was sharing it, and I was mind blown. And every premium live event, it seems like there's just some new record that's being broken, or just something. It's like bigger than it ever was. That's why I love arguing with the people online. Because the people that hate it, I'm just like, ooh, you hate it, and I love it. Ooh, let's
Well, I
go.
know we were talking about that moment. I know it's hard to like pick specific moments or matches, especially when you have such a big career. What's some of your favorite matches that you've called though?
So some of my favorite matches that I've called, well, oh, I think Clash at the Castle in its entirety was
Mm,
nutso. So Edge and Rey Mysterio were in a tag team, and that was my first time announcing both of them. So that was huge for me. That's a big moment. Um, man, obviously WrestleMania. Roman, the tribal chief, and Cody Rhodes. That was a huge responsibility,
yeah.
and I was honored that they trusted me to do the main event. And yeah, that was insane. Um, I got to announce John Cena at the end of last year when he did his match on SmackDown, his tag team match with Kevin Owens, and that was a big honor. I could seriously go on and on. It's been nonstop. And I think that I'm just so lucky because it's really just been the 2 years that I haven't even, has it been 2 years? I don't know if it's been two. No, I haven't even hit 2 full years on the main roster yet. But
Wow.
even in this time, it's been nonstop, like the best wrestling I've ever seen in my life. Like I get to watch Gunther and I get to watch, Butch, and I always name drop Butch because he's like my favorite. But I mean Santos Escobar, Ricochet, like I get to see this all. It's incredible. I,
Well,
I
well,
have to like make an actual list of the ones that are the best, but there's so
Yeah.
many.
we were talking about your favorite moments, and you brought up Ricochet. I got to ask you about maybe a moment that wasn't your favorite. Logan Paul versus Ricochet, and you had to announce the winner on that. How'd you like that match? What was that like?
Well, it was obviously an incredible match, which
Yeah.
I knew that it would be. I do have respect for Logan Paul's athleticism and even his business savvy. I, unlike a lot of people, do think that he fits in perfectly in the world of wrestling. However, I didn't think I people need to like understand that Ricochet and I have these conversations. He takes his job very seriously. I take my job very seriously. We talk about all the possibilities of what could happen. And we talked about if he were to lose. And I would never disrespect the entirety of the business by not announcing someone who won the match. Now, do I agree with how he won that match? Absolutely not. The fact that that's like such a viral moment and it's actually I mean, I don't even want to say it's like embarrassing because people are like, "Oh, that's so embarrassing." And I'm like, "You know what? Then good. Let me be embarrassed that my incredible elite athlete boyfriend was on one of the grandest stages of them all and got punched in the face with brass knuckles and I'm upset because I just watched this happen to him and I know what his goals are. And then I have Logan Paul, who's just everybody knows that he's very good at agitating and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
literally hanging over the ropes, like, say it again, and I'm just like, and then they bring the camera over and I'm just like, I can't believe this is happening, but I'm going to say this announcement because that is my job. You know what I mean? The ref made the decision. I make the announcement and that's what I did. So whatever. And if he's proud of that, then I mean, that says it all. Obviously, he didn't think he was going to win because why else would he have busted out the knucks?
So before we got to that illustrious breakdown, uh, Z was asking you about matches that you already announced. My question to you is, what would be your dream match to announce? Like, if you could pick one, like Samantha Irvin gets to announce this match, whoever it could be, even if it's not
Anybody in the
possible,
world,
anybody in the world,
Mhm.
living,
living,
dead or
not
living, it
living,
doesn't
just
matter.
the dream, because it's a dream.
Yokozuna
Mm,
Ooh,
versus Shawn Michaels.
fire,
mm,
fire.
that would be crazy.
I
Yeah.
literally was just watching the ending of that match the other day, and it's really incredible. It's really incredible how agile Yokozuna is for such a big human being. Like that.
Yo,
I mean,
that's great.
he'll always be one of my favorite superstars. Always. Yokozuna just an incredible athlete, incredible demeanor and character. the his song, like the whole vibe. I love Yokozuna.
No, absolutely. Well, speaking of that, I wanted to touch on another like current storyline that's going on. The bloodline, everything that's going on with that. We've interviewed a couple of Enowahi members here, but what do you think of the bloodline and the current divide that's happening with Jay and Jimmy and everything?
Um, so I really am I'm very invested in the bloodline story because I love family and I'm the oldest of six kids. So
Wow.
I do love when there is a bond and a strength that a family exhibits, and I think that they're incredibly strong and gifted people. I'm sad that it's come to this point, but I think that we saw that the tribal chief was, I know he ain't watching this,
Yeah.
but some would say maybe he was tripping a little bit. Some would say that, not me. So I'm actually a little bit happy now that Jimmy and Jay can now sort of, spread their wings on their own. I think that it's a very, very good thing. I do. And I would always hope that they would come back together because they are family, and that I think is very important. But I'm very excited for main event Jay Uso's solo run right now, and also for Jimmy Uso's. And I just hope they all can work it out. But they were doing a lot of damage. It was actually pretty sad. When I was on SmackDown, they were doing a lot of damage, every week. It was like somebody was getting jacked up. So if that's slowed down, then I think it's kind of a good thing right now.
Yeah, yeah, it might be, or Jay might form the raw version of the bloodline. That might be crazy too.
If there's one thing I've picked up from these gentlemen, blood is blood.
Yeah,
I'm not, and I know that they have it within them to be loyal. They are loyal people, but blood is blood. Family is family. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I do hope that they each can accomplish whatever goals that they have alone because they have never had a chance to focus on that before.
no, absolutely.
And what do you think of another stable that's kind of running amok right now? Judgment Day.
Now the Judgment Day is jacking everybody up every week.
Yeah,
It's traumatic, where I'm sitting. It's kind of crazy. The Judgment Day now, I actually made the mistake of saying to Senor Money in the Bank, I saw him, I'm like, man, you guys are like the bloodline now. And he's like, we're the Judgment Day. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're the Judgment Day. But I just meant, y'all got all the gold now. So when they come out, we're like, listing off all the gold and all the accolades because they're just running it right now.
I feel like in from the time that I watched wrestling, because I started watching wrestling at 6, that's like the stamp in the WWE when the stable is on top of the world. Once everybody has a belt, it's over. Like from
I
D
mean, it's
Generation
just
X.
human nature. It's
Yeah.
human nature. There's strength in numbers. If you can build an alliance of people that you trust, you can run the division. And I mean, that's just the formula for success. It takes powerful people to do it, and unfortunately, a lot of people abuse that power. But you know, like I said, it's just my job to say the winner. However, they get there.
See, in the Judgment Day, something that I wanted to get into this topic of like these moments, because as fans, like even as kids, as adults, that's what we live for is these moments, like when Mick Foley gets thrown off the cell. Like, what are some as an announcer? Like, I was brought up to Judgment Day because when Judgment Day won those tag belts, I was surprised. I was just like, well, and like even bringing back to WrestleMania, when Cody didn't finish the story, I was surprised because it was right there. But as an announcer in your position, what are some of the moments that you've been like surprised? You just like made it take you a second to get to announcing because you're like,
Oh,
whoa.
geez. Woo. Okay, right off the bat, Liv Morgan winning the
Mm.
title, cashing in. Um, I was like, that was my first Money in the Bank anyway. So I just was like, all right, if something goes down, and everyone's like, yeah, but what are the odds that it's really going to be going down?
Yeah.
But it went down. So that was just, I was incredibly shocked. I feel like when Rhonda won it back, I was shocked. Um, I was shocked. Obviously, I mean, I was obviously appalled. I was Logan appalled at when he won.
Fire.
Um, Man, there have been moments. There have been moments. Even recently, Chad Gable and Gunther, and the
Mhm.
count out situation.
That was
Yeah,
crazy. That
that was
was crazy.
absolutely crazy and insane. And I'm always torn. I'm torn. I'm torn about this because I love this, but I'm also just like, this is crazy, and I just don't want anybody to get hurt. So I'm older than I used to be. I used to be like, yeah. Now I'm just like, oh my God.
Jump off the ladder.
I'm like, don't. It's okay. I'm like, just arm wrestle or something.
I'm a huge fan of Gunther. I think what he's doing with the IC title is
Crazy.
is incredible, and like that's what I'm talking. It feels like so much validity is back where I'm on the edge of my seat in these moments. But I think Gunther's one of my favorites, like active wrestlers right now. Give me your
Yeah.
top list, like your favorite active wrestlers right now.
Ooh, my favorite active wrestlers. Okay, I don't really have a list of favorites. I'm gonna tell you right now because it really is like that right now. That every single
Yeah.
person is just like it. That's how it is. But I always say Butch. I'm always very happy when I see Butch compete. Everybody's so nasty. Like
Yeah.
everybody. Uh, I gotta, I'm biased, but my man Ricochet is clearly the best at what he does. Santos Escobar is unbelievable. I mean, Ludwig and Giovanni Vinci. We have Tommaso Ciampa. Chad Gable is incredible. Um,
And
I mean,
finally getting the shine he deserves, I feel like.
and yeah, and he's out there in the forefront making waves and getting the people like on his side. Like he is one of the people that gets the audience very excited. The Viking Raiders, don't sleep. They're incredible. I mean, yeah, I really could just go down the roster, and every single person right now is just an incredible athlete.
No Dominic? Dominic,
Woo!
what Dominic does is special, man. Come
Is
on.
that right?
Nah,
Is that
I think
right?
you know what? And you've done not only announcing, but you have the backstage interviews too sometimes, and like those backstage segments. What's like the difference in that? Is there almost like a little more freedom in the backstage, or like does it get crazier backstage?
I actually haven't been backstage on the main roster, but I obviously am very close with the backstage interviewers. Today's Kathy Kelly's birthday. Happy birthday, Kathy Kelly.
Happy birthday,
Um,
Kelly.
Birthday.
so I know that it's crazy back there because you got to think you're approaching these men and women when they're in the height of their. I feel like a little y'all are like typing or y'all are doing something. What are y'all doing right
No,
now?
no,
No,
he's
Okay.
probably. I guess he's probably looking at a
I
question.
literally
I
saw
know.
both y'all go like that, and then I just like lost whatever I was
Oh no,
talking
me,
about.
I was sharing out the love. That's what I was doing.
Um, okay. Backstage, I think, is a little hectic. Obviously, when I was at NXT, it was a little bit stressful for me because everybody gets they were getting really offended at the questions that I was asking because I like to ask a little more. I don't like to just ask how they're feeling. I don't, I like to try to get a little more information. So I think I aggravated some people when I was doing the backstage interviews. It's probably best that I am just announcing.
All right, so let me just so you know what we do, right? Because I want to we got something that is like unique and creative going on. So we're battle rappers. So usually we travel the world, we battle rap against people, 3 rounds. It's on YouTube. You ever watched a battle like in modern day or no?
I mean, I'm aware of it, but I don't
Okay.
think that I've watched any recent
Okay,
battle
so
rapping.
we I'm gonna get you up to speed. It's crazy. Like, and it
Okay.
mirrors wrestling so much that on October 29th, I'm doing a whole card of a battle event, but you can only use wrestling bars. So like everybody that's in the battle, they're big wrestling fans. So everybody
That's
has to
cool.
try to win the battle by just using all wrestling bars, but they're
Oh
not
my
restricted.
gosh.
I
They're
will
not.
be dressed as Shawn Michaels for that event.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
Good.
so we're not restricting like certain errors. You can use whatever error you want. Um, so it's gonna be crazy because I don't know what type of what I mean wordplay people are gonna
That is
put together with
cool.
so much stuff. So
That's very
I
cool.
have a request because my battle rap name is DNA and I'm battling Charlie Clips. So I just was asking you if possible, could you do the announcement DNA versus Charlie Clips all wrestling bar?
Oh God, I don't know if I have it for you right now. Oh my God. This is actually probably one of the things that's the hardest to navigate is that everywhere I go, people are asking me to announce,
I,
and it's
no,
hard.
no, that everywhere I go, people ask me to rap. So I know. I
Yeah,
know.
yeah. I want to give it to you, but I don't have a full vocal for you today.
Okay, okay.
I'm so
Uh,
sorry.
no, it's okay.
Let me ask you something. As a fan, as such a big fan, do you have maybe a message to the fans, the WWE universe as they call it?
A message to the
Yeah,
fans.
if you could send a message to them.
Okay, so there's a lot of different fans that fall under the umbrella of fans. So I will speak to the people that love it and the people that care about it and the people that want it to always continue, not the people that want to critique and tear down and low key wish that they could work there and want to be like negative.
Yeah.
This means something to all of us. And it's important that we support each other no matter what promotion you work for, no matter what, this world of wrestling that we all love is something that we're all invested in. We all have cried over this. We've laughed because of this. We've been angry because of this. And we're all tied into those emotions. I love the conversations. I love the debates. I love all that. But just understand that these people are putting their bodies on the line. It's not a joke. That is the number one thing that I think about every single day is that this is something that they're risking themselves, their livelihood, their bodies for us and for this thing that we love that is wrestling and sports entertainment. So if you could just continue to spread the love of it so that we could just keep enjoying it forever, that would be the one thing I would want to spread and tell the fans. And
Absolutely.
I'll get you on that announcement. I
Okay,
will get you on that
okay.
announcement. I just don't have it for you
No,
today,
it's
and I
all
will
good. It's
get
all
you on
good.
that.
It's all good. October 29th. After that, I'll send you the battle on Instagram so you can see it and tell me what you think. But I
Okay,
appreciate your
cool.
time. Not gonna
Thank
hold
you
you up. We
guys.
know you got a busy
Let me
schedule.
ask one more question
One more.
before we go. I got one more question.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, attitude era energy. I have to stop the clock real quick. Be like, we got one more.
All right.
Real quick before we get out of here. Endeavor, the whole Endeavor. How do you like the new company kind of?
Well, I think in terms of like what is happening like day to day at WWE, it's we still are following the same mission statement as always, but I love the fact that there's this collaboration and that there's this just leaning on one another that's going to be able to happen because I always say that if the UFC fans, WWE fans, of course there is a crossover there on that Venn diagram, and it would be nice to bring those people out and we can just enjoy all of it together because you have to be able to kind of be a kid a little bit and want to
Mhm.
be entertained. You have to like want to enjoy it. If you're not gonna, if you just gonna be like, oh, this is what, I'm excited for people to see what it really is because I think that people have something in their mind about what wrestling is, what WWE is, and they actually haven't given it a chance to really just get lost in this. I mean, that bloodline thing alone, I think, would be enough for any person that I know to be invested and interested in what could happen with
Yeah.
that. So I'm just excited to pull more people in, and hopefully, WWE can do the same thing with UFC. And I mean, it's all just exciting and dope. So I'm looking forward to the positive changes that I think are ahead.
Awesome. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate
Always.
your time. Thank you for
Thank
giving
you,
us the
guys.
interview once again. Continue up the great work.
Thank you
Appreciate
guys
you.
so much.
And no
Appreciate
women.
you.
No, I'm playing.
That means a lot to me. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
Gotcha.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much.